this neighborhood, neighbor.
I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of central Iowa, welcome to Max World Live. Max World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Max World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Max World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
3:07 on the 9th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Thanks to Chris Roloff, Frank the Verse Thomas, and Bob Montserrat, who was really the star of the show yesterday, for filling in. My wife had surgery yesterday. And, you know, I figured out that surgery is always a bigger deal to the people who are having surgery. Because, you know, every day, not every day, I think there's a lot of days I run into somebody who's they're having surgery tomorrow or later this week, and I hope things go well. But when you're in the middle of it, I mean, I found myself yesterday. I wasn't planning on talking about this. And Tamara Scott is here also today because she's going to talk about a bill that's coming up to the House that's real important. I found myself sitting with my wife in the reception room, waiting for her to have surgery, and having that conversation about what happens if you don't make it. Now, it's not that that's the only time we've ever talked about that. I know that I can't bury her in yellow. That's always been made clear. But, you know, I made some commitments to her that, you know, I'm gonna make sure that our children are taken care of, and one specifically. And I know the things that are important to her, and I'm going to make sure, you know, and she thought that, she thought probably within months I'd be out running around with another gal, and I said, You don't realize that nobody's ever going to top you. And I just don't have any desire to start that over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy honoring our relationship and your memory by letting people know that you're the best girl I could have ever been married to. And, you know, that kind of makes that whole surgery thing just change.
I bet so, yeah.
Because all of a sudden we're actually talking about that horrible unlikelihood that something would happen in a simple surgery, and it's usually through anesthesia and stuff. So, but praise God for all those people that prayed for my wife and I, and mostly for her. She's doing great today. I just love God answering prayers. She's not chasing me around the bedroom yet, but she's getting up, and she's got her little scooter where she runs around, and she's just doing great. I'm so proud of her. I mean, she was really brave in doing that surgery. She did not have to do that surgery. Now, she had to do that surgery if she didn't want to live with pain the rest of her life in her left foot. But I don't know if I would have done it. I probably would have said, I'll be a gimp. I don't want to get cut into. I mean, she's got 3 screws in her body now. Every time she goes on a plane, she's going to have to provide some, you know, documentation that she doesn't have a .45 Colt under her left foot.
Right.
But, you know, she's a brave woman. She has another 30 years left to live. And so she wants to live it to the fullest. So I'm glad she did that. So
you're perfect now for each other. You've got a couple screws loose, and she's got a couple extra.
There you go, Tamara. Well said.
I like that.
I knew, Tamara, there's many reasons why you're here today. That was at least one of the many reasons you're here. Thank you for that.
Nothing else you say carries any value. I think that was it right there.
That was perfect.
All right, Ryan's producing. Ryan, if you can give me a little more oomph on my microphone, please, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, next hour, Mike Swain will be here. Mike Swain is no big deal, except to Jesus. Mike is local. He's just a great guy, but he's got a story that he shares in men's ministries all over town that will show you what I like to call proof of God. You know, sometimes, and I don't know about you, but I still in my journey sometimes sit back and go, this is real, right? I mean, I'm just not drinking the Kool-Aid, this is real. And then I think, okay, the Holy Spirit's here. These things are coming naturally to me. I'm different because he wants me to be, not because I want to be. And then you realize when you hear another man's story that's exactly the same, and then another man's story, and another woman's story, and all of a sudden you realize that you live in this village of very blessed people. A Calvinist would say predestined people. A Christian might say, or an evangelical, these are the called. These are the ones God called. whatever it is, Mike has that kind of story, and we're looking forward to have him. All right. In the pro-life fight in this country and in this state, there is yet another element to it that I didn't fully understand until it was explained to me the other day. And Tamara, this is a fight you're taking on. Talk to us about this.
So right here in our own state house, about 4 o'clock this evening, they are to debate the bill that would prohibit the sale of unborn baby parts, tissue, organs, brains, the harvesting of the bodies, and selling them. The research on tissue, body parts, from elective abortions. This is at 4 o'clock this evening. It's to take place. Now, you may listen in live. Of course, you want to listen to Mac's show, so I don't want to create any competition. But you can always listen live to your house and to your Senate by going to that website, www.legis.iowa.gov, legis.iowa.gov. At the very least, you can look up the bills. You do a keyword search on fetal, and it's going to come up. We expect it, Danny Carroll has just informed me, they expect it to pass out of the House tonight, which I would hope so, a Republican-controlled House. At the RNC, we were able to pass a resolution in August of 2015, and I was able to insert a paragraph in that said, with the defunding of Planned Parenthood, we also ask for the government not to fund any colleges, universities, research clinics that seek tissue or body parts from elective abortions, because you're fueling the demand. You're putting the price on the head of the unborn and making them worth more dead than alive. So they're debating this bill. We expect it to pass the House. I'm going to have to find out what will happen in the Senate. At the very least, call the House and encourage them to make sure that it does pass tonight. Call the House and thank them, the Republicans that vote for it. If we have any Democrats that vote for it, really thank them, because they'll be standing against their party line on this. But the question is, the University of Iowa came out against this bill. The Board of Regents came out. Excuse me, what does this have to do with education and the Board of Regents and tuition and college funds?
We talked about this yesterday, and the Iowa Coalition of United Methodists came out against this.
That's concerning as well for somebody who should know the Bible a little bit better than that. But for the university, this tells you right there very clearly, something's happening at the University of Iowa. And whether it's your tax funds going to Planned Parenthood and funding it that route, or your tax dollars going to the University of Iowa and funding research on whether it's embryonic stem cell research, whether it's just the unborn parts. Lozier Institute has been a guest on my show. There is no research whatsoever that is gained by elective abortion tissue research. They can get the research they need through natural causes, natural death, miscarriages.
Yeah, in fact, I learned this yesterday, and I was shocked. The University of Iowa, what's the word I want? Does 80 abortions a year.
Uh-huh.
What's the word I want?
Performs?
Performs, thank you. Our University of Iowa,
Tax funded,
does 80 abortions a year, and they use all that for research.
Now, we have the Hyde Amendment nationally, and then our governor has said no tax dollars will go to fund abortions, whether it's Medicaid or Medicare. So we hear that they write off the cost of that number of abortions. Maybe they do. But, Max, our tax dollars still fund the lights. They still fund the clinic. They still fund the teaching. They still fund the personnel. It must stop. We must demand. Either we're in the education business to educate, to produce life, but certainly not for something that has proven not successful.
Yeah, it just crazy. Now, how about, I was shocked when Tim Overland told me the other day that the personhood bill got into a committee controlled by a Republican. Another Republican and another Democrat were a part of it, and they couldn't get the personhood bill out of that with 2 Republicans in charge. Did I hear that right?
And so I wasn't in on that committee, so I won't speak to that, not knowing. Sometimes it's a matter of the language. Sometimes it's a matter of an amendment that makes somebody nervous. I just can't speak to that.
Well, what the guy said, and I could look it up, the guy who was the head of the committee, who is supposed to be this staunch Republican conservative Christian, said that he prayed about it and God revealed to him that it just wasn't time for this bill.
I struggle with when is the right thing, when is it not the right time to do when is it ever wrong to do the right thing? I struggle with that, and yet I also understand strategy. So I can't speak to that one. I can tell you there's other bills we should be concerned as well, and the numbers are over there in my bag. But today on the show that I host, we had a bill come to our attention that it's for those custody situations. And granted, we understand that divorce, sometimes you cannot help being part of a divorce, but you will not ever make good what we have made evil, right? Divorce is not God's plan, and no law is going to make it better. And one of the things they had was a court-appointed informal guardian. They call it ad litem guardian. I'm probably not saying it right. Forgive me for my Latin and my legalese. But what they're doing is they will appoint a stranger, an attorney, who doesn't know your family. And part of that bill also, instead of saying may have interviews, will have interviews with your children. They will be deciding for you what's best for your children. Think this through.
Yeah.
You know, as a man and a woman, it's hard enough to make a decision and come together. Now you've got a third party who will have clout in the decision. People think this through. Do not divorce and hand over what is yours to the state.
Wow, that's shocking.
It's the same language that's coming out of the federal. This is why we talked about it today. In December, a document came out, and I don't have a clock, so warn me if I need to hush. But there's a document that came
15
out
seconds.
Saying that the federal government is equal to parents. That's what the philosophy is of your government.
We don't want that language. We don't want that on paper. No, we don't.
All right. 17 and a half minutes after the hour. Thank you very much for stepping in. You're heading down to the Iowa House. Bob and I and Chris and Ryan are returning, and we're going to talk about some of the big local news stories as well as a recap, if there's such a thing, on the primaries held yesterday. The Trump and Clinton machine continues to roll. Bernie's waving. Rubio's probably dead. We'll talk about it next.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah!
If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Minutes after 3 o'clock on the 9th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Thankful for prayers that people had across the web and over Radio Land for my wife, CJ, who had some, what we thought was pretty important surgery. Well, we know it's important surgery. But it was the 8th surgery this doctor did yesterday. Can you believe that, Chris? It was the 8th surgery this doctor did yesterday.
Wow.
You would think that they would do 1 or 2 surgeries a day, if that.
And he did that one at, what was that, about 2:30 or 2:00?
Yeah, about 2:40.
Wow.
He went in and did that. Took him about a half hour, inserted a couple of screws, took out some bone. And here's the other thing. So listen to this. Talk about weird.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'm supposed to say this. Honey, text me if I can talk about... she might be listening, and I don't want to say anything to make him. Text me if I can talk about the little pamphlet that you got. And let me just, please allow me to just leave that on the table for now for the listeners. I want to make sure, in case CJ's listening, that's not a bad thing for her. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, I wanted to point out real quick.
Me and she said...
Oh, what did she say? Well, Mac, if I could, while you're looking at that, I just want to let people know that if I appreciate Tamara Scott coming in just in our first segment and talking about the House file that is up for debate tonight. If you want to read about it and some specific language about it, I suggest that you go to caffeinatedthoughts.com. That's where I heard about the story. We did talk about it yesterday. If you go to caffeinatedthoughts.com, it's one of the top stories on our website right now. You can read about it, hear some language in it, see the list of people who are supporting, who are against this ban. In other words, they are people who are for the selling of aborted fetal tissue, baby parts. So you can find out more about that there. So I would encourage people to do that if they're near a computer to check it out.
All right, so CJ said I could say something. So the surgery is over, and she gets this little pamphlet.
Yeah.
In which, if she wants to thank the family of the person that donated body parts for her surgery, she could do it in this form, send it back to them, and they would make sure the family gets it. Obviously, the family remains anonymous. So the first thing I said is, what body parts?
Yeah, that's my thought. What body parts?
And I think CJ was more comfortable with it than I was, but why did you need body parts? Well, the glue that they put around the screw, if you've ever put screw into something, if you've ever put together a deck or anything with screws, sometimes it's good to use like a wood glue.
Yeah, sure.
And you put it around the screw, and so when it goes in, it absolutely fills any joints that are made by that screw going in.
Right.
Well, they use this adhesive or this glue, and it's made out of crushed bone. Okay. Well, they're not going to go in and chip off a piece of your bone to do this, or I guess they don't. And so this comes from donated cadavers?
I'm assuming, that's what I'm assuming, this cadaver bones.
Yeah, so if you pass away and you donate your body to medical science, I would imagine that one of the things the hospital does, or the university does, is when they're done with that cadaver, then they sell it to a pharmacy or a medical company that then makes this glue.
Yeah, and they have requirements. If you donate your body, your body has to be in certain condition.
Yeah,
for donation.
Yeah, and it makes complete sense from a guy who likes to make things. I always put a little wood glue, Elmer's wood glue, around the screw, and so when I drive that screw in, it's not just the screw that is now holding something together, it's also that glue. And we built a deck on my old house that way. In 16 years, that deck stood and never needed anything done with it. Where if you nail without wood glue, that makes a difference. Oh, my phone's going off. That may mean I said something wrong here. It's called putty made from ground bone, not glue. Okay. It's called putty, not glue, made from ground bone.
There you go.
Glad she corrects. CJ's a detail person. I'm like a big picture person. She's the one that would say, no, it's not glue. It's putty. So anyway, and okay. So, and this is what happens when my wife has a day off. I have my audio editor. But you know what? I'm just glad she listens.
All right.
'Cause she
So
works
let's
every
go
day.
to the next. All right. Let's go to the next thing.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
That was a throwback to CJ. Isn't that what you always say? All right.
Let's go to the next thing. Well,
No. Isn't it all right that you say at the beginning?
Oh, yeah. I open every show. All right. 309. All right.
That was my shout out to CJ.
And there I did it just now.
Only CJ got it, hopefully. Maybe no one got it. Maybe she didn't even get it.
All right. So earlier last month, we talked about how the YMCA of Greater Des Moines was pulling out of the Johnston Grimes Y.
Yes.
The one in which App donated the land with Charlie Gabus years ago, and it was going to be built south of the Walmart. Now, this is east side of 141, south of Walmart, and then west of the new Johnston High School that they're building out there. And the Y backed out of that because of the difficulty they're having with funds.
Right.
And this doesn't surprise me. I mean, I'm kind of proud of the Y as a not-for-profit. They had goals, they had plans, they had 10-year projections. Their collection of funds didn't match that. And so what you should do is you should back off on your plans. And now they've got the money from the land that they can sell. Naps have said, fine, that's okay, do whatever you want. They're going to take that money and they're going to put it into the swimming pool to finish the Wellmark swimming pool, or the Wellmark YMCA indoor pool downtown, because that's a big disappointment to people, because that's going to be a competitive style pool. So swimming competitions from around the globe can come here and do their competition in, I think we call them Olympic-sized pools.
Sure.
But there's more to it than that, as far as there's diving stands and things like that. So we could one day be seeing Olympic tryouts in Des Moines, Iowa at the Wellmark YMCA. All right. Well, they've now announced that they're going to not partner with the Des Moines Area Community College to operate a new recreational facility that's being built on the college Ankeny campus. This is what the YMCA. It's truly a situation where we did not come to a final agreement in terms of the lease, said Jim Noyce, interim CEO for the YMCA. Ultimately, when it came down to discussions about the amount of payments that were involved in the lease, those payments didn't look like they would be financially prudent. When was the last time you heard the word prudent?
Prudent.
George Bush the First.
Right.
Board members from, it won't be prudent, board members from the two organizations have been negotiating plans to move the Ankeny Family YMCA from the Northview Middle School to the DMAC facility for about 2 years. The YMCA has been at Northview for 27 years and serves over 8,000 members. DMAC's $38 million project features an 88,000 square foot recreational area and an attached 77,000 square foot activities complex. The YMCA would have leased and operated the rec center. Again, that's the 88,000 square feet, which would have included a competition pool, workout facilities, a gymnasium, 2 dance and exercise studios, and some racquetball courts. For that partnership to work, the YMCA had to pay DMAC $14 million over 20 years, or about $865,000 a year for that portion of the facility. However, YMCA leaders ran a new set of projections, and they didn't believe they could pay back DMAC during the 20-year time period due to projected membership levels. So on last Friday, the YMCA told DMAC the bad news. Now, it's my understanding, Bob, and I don't know if you know this from being out at the DMAC campus, they're still going to build this. Isn't this currently under construction?
You mean at the Ankeny campus?
Yeah.
Well, they're doing a heck of a lot of construction out there.
I think this is already under construction, so now they're going to have... Now, DMAC's going to run $20 million short over 14 years. I'm sorry, $14 million short over 20 years. And you know why this is happening? No. It's health clubs popping up every place.
So competition.
Absolutely. People aren't exercising less. In fact, if anything, people are exercising more.
Or at least the first 3 months of the year.
And so, right. So you've got, places like Prairie Life, and I don't know what that one over by my house is called, New Life, that new...
Yeah, it's a huge facility.
Oh, it's like, have you been in it?
No, just drive by it.
It's like a 5-star resort.
Wow.
indoor pool, outdoor pool, lounge area, restaurant, bar, private locker rooms, permanent locker rooms, which means you can have a permanent locker there. Just all kinds of stuff that's crazy. It's also like $170 a month, where the Y is, what, $40? But people want, YMCA to some people. First of all, it doesn't represent the C very much anymore in the YMCA. And the other thing is they're being aced out by competition. So I'm proud of the YMCA board for recognizing that and not putting us in a pickle where we're closing Ys. Because what they could have done is they could have built the one in Johnston Grimes. They could go ahead and do this one in DMAC. And then you've got YMCAs in the harder parts of town, like the Grub YMCA, which is right in smack in the middle of what I call the hood, and somebody will take offense to that, but I don't mean to. I think most of my listeners know when I say the hood, 14th and Carpenter, 6th and University, everything east of Drake and everything west of the river is just a difficult period, a difficult area in our community.
Mac, isn't that where Ryan, our producer, lives?
Yeah, I think so.
Ryan, isn't that where you live? Yeah.
Well, and my friend, and I'm so proud to call him friend, Pastor Michael Hurst, he has sold his building, Elam Community Church, over there behind the Wallace office building because the state has bought it to build a new office complex over there. And so he was going to take that money and contribute to the Y and build a church onto it and kind of do the same thing we were going to do at Hope Johnston Grimes. Well, if the Y doesn't make these long-term cuts, looking 20 years out, they're going to close that Y. They're going to close some of the underused. You got to remember, there's a lot of YMCAs that people come for free. That's what they're supposed to be. Young Men's and Young Women's Christian Association. The idea that you would pay for a membership to the Y was really only construed as a way to support your Y. It was really free to the community. Well, in difficult neighborhoods, it is free to the community. If you go over to the Grub YMCA in the middle of that area, I don't know if they get any money off of membership. The pool shut down. It doesn't operate anymore. The air conditioning isn't sufficient during the summer. So Michael Hurst was going to go over there with his church and try to rebuild that area. And Michael's a great guy, and that's why the Y's doing it, and I don't think that's so bad.
No, that's wisdom on their part to not overextend. Well, Mac, I was surprised to find out, we didn't talk about this much. In fact, we didn't talk about it at all yesterday on the radio broadcast. But, up in Idaho, in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, that pastor was shot. And initially, there was that discussion about somebody had kind of written the headline in a weird way that it had something to do with the Ted Cruz rally or something.
Well, he said a prayer, evidently.
That he said a prayer at that. It turns out there's a little bit more going on to this story than just a pastor getting shot. It still is not being reported on all that much, although I think it has been on a lot of the major news sources. But if I could, Mac, we've got a couple of minutes here. I'd like to read this statement.
Well, actually,
no.
Let me hold you.
Okay.
We've got about 30 seconds till a break.
Oh, let's talk about it. We've got the statement that the church issued that I could read for us after the tragedy, and then we could talk a little bit about the details of what happened with that shooter. Mike
Swain coming up next hour. He's an amazing guy, and you'll know that when you get done listening to the show. I'm not trying to overpromise and underdeliver. I'm not teasing something we can't deliver. He's just one of those guys that is gifted by the Holy Spirit, and God speaks through him, and we'll be excited to hear from him. Don't forget Weiss and Merkel. They're having that retirement party, that passport to retirement. It's happening tomorrow, March 10th, and you can still sign up, $49 a couple. Give them a call, 278-4110. That's Weiss and Merkel. Local guys, good guys.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed right or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, 3:38 on the 9th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. I get to do talk radio. You have a biblical worldview. And most importantly, if I say Jesus' name, I don't have some yahoo running down the hallway saying, you can't say Jesus' name. This is a secular station. If we say Jesus' name, we're going to get complaints. Yeah, because his name carries power. You know, every time a sinner, which I am, uses the name of the Lord in vain, which I don't do, I'm lucky I never got into that habit. You know, every once in a while, it starts to come out and I say, God bless America. Every time they say that in blasphemy, they say it because they know the power of it. Think about that. Think about someone who's not a believer, who blasphemes the Lord by GD and JC and all that stuff you can say. They're saying that because they recognize the power that it has. Now, in their case, they're using it for evil. But if they were to say, oh, peanut butter, that's not as powerful as taking the Lord's name in vain. That's why it's blasphemy, because it is so powerful. That's what this radio station's about. You know, we have some of the best preachers and teachers 24/7. We have live, local, spirited, conservative talk radio that happens to be a biblically worldview. That's what we do here, and we appreciate you listening. If this is your first time, thanks. Appreciate it. Give us a try. Some days you'll like it, some days you won't. It's like when I was in the restaurant business. I like it when you tell me you like my cheeseburgers, but I need you to tell me when you don't. So phone lines are always open. It's your voice I want to hear, 515-244-0077. And also the brand new Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993. I'll give you those numbers again in a few minutes if you want to grab a piece of paper or a pencil to write them down. You can also go to our website, 993thetruth.com, 993thetruth.com, And you can find information about this show and the radio station and some of the other live shows that are on here. All right. I'm with Ryan today. He's producing. Bob Monsteret, the Cat in the Hat, watching the chat and the text line. And Chris Roloff sitting in today. Thanks for sitting in with me yesterday. You did an excellent job. Made me feel like I didn't have to worry about whether I'd have a job when I got back, though. I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead. You were going to say something. Go ahead. Your mic's not on? I think your mic is on. Well, if you say, here, do this. Go, squeak. Your mic's on. Now quit it. He's acting like his mic's not on. So just say something. If you don't say something, I'm going to turn it off.
So interesting. Before we went to the break, I reminded everybody of the pastor in Idaho.
Yes.
That was shot over the weekend.
My sister-in-law lives.
Yes.
My sister-in-law lives in this town.
Your sister-in-law lives in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Yep.
Which is a beautiful part of that state, by the way. I did live for a little while in the southern part of Idaho, which is also pretty, but it feels a little bit more like Utah, more deserty down there.
Is that when you were a Mormon?
No, but the northern part of Idaho, especially up in Coeur d'Alene, is absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. For anybody who's been up there, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, just to give you a little bit of details about Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and the shooting there, Pastor Tim Remington was the one who was shot. He is the head pastor at Altar Church. He was shot in the back by a man who was waiting in his car for a pastor to leave the church. Police believe that this person is Kyle Odom. Well, guess what, folks? Guess what?
Wait a minute. Hold on. They believe that, so they don't have him?
Well, no, they have him in custody now. I'm sorry, the report that I was reading that second said that. They do have this gentleman in custody now.
Right,
that was as of... so he was shot Sunday. That was as of Monday. Now here it is, Wednesday. This just got cool. Why did he do it? Right? So the headline said originally that the guy was at a Ted Cruz rally or prayed at a Ted Cruz rally or something like that. So this guy, hates Ted Cruz and that's why he did it. Oh, no, Matt.
No.
Oh, no, this is great. And let me read this to you because this is great. This is the USA Today right now. You can find this. You can find this probably a lot of places. So let me just read for you a little bit here. The former Marine, Kyle Odom is a former Marine, was arrested outside of the White House on an attempted murder warrant for Idaho, from Idaho. He wrote a 21-page manifesto claiming that the pastor he shot in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho was an amphibian humanoid from Mars.
No.
I'm not making this up. The former Marine believed that the pastor of Altar Church in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho was an amphibian humanoid from Mars.
Yep.
Kyle Odom, he's age 30, was taken into custody Tuesday, that was yesterday, after throwing non-hazardous materials onto the South Lawn. This is in Washington, right? The Secret Service said in a statement that the Coeur d'Alene Police Chief Lee White said that the materials included a flash drive with his manifesto. So Odom, this guy, had a manifesto. Odom says in the manifesto sent to the Washington Post and other media organizations that he wrote a letter to President Obama because he is certain that President Obama knows about the Martian humanoids among us. And he must stop it.
Now, I just want to make sure my audience knows something.
I'm not making this up.
We are not making this up. This has been confirmed by several news sources.
Yes.
AP picked it up. USA Today. Well, you got it off
the
USA
Washington
Today.
Post, USA Today. This is, like you said, Associated Press has this out.
So this former United States Marine shot this pastor not because of politics or because of Jesus.
No, he was firmly convinced that this guy was an amphibian humanoid.
What, is that like a fish human?
Amphibian would be, right, so both land and water.
All right.
That's what an amphibian is. And he's a humanoid from Mars, amphibian humanoid. So this pastor is a Martian, literally, that can live in both water and land. That's what this gentleman thought.
Right.
And so he decided that it was time to put an end to this Martian on the planet.
Let me read it here. It says, Odom says he shot Remington after the pastor's true face, in quotes, as a Martian briefly appeared while Remington was attempting to persuade Odom to become a pastor himself. I'm reading the same thing you're reading, Chris.
Absolutely, absolutely fascinating. This story went from bad journalism, frankly, because the headline made it about Ted Cruz support, which it had nothing to do with.
Right.
To virtually being ignored because when pastors are shot, nobody seems to care.
Right.
But that's a whole different thing. And to hilarious that this guy now thinks that there are aliens among us and that this person was one. And he had a manifesto he was trying to get to the president to say, look, mister, you know what's up, and you're doing nothing.
Well, did I understand in that story, though, they had previously contacted the White House that there were these men, these amphibian elements, Martians around us? Or was that just in what he threw over the fence?
That was in the flash drive of Odom, who is the person who shot the pastor. He had a 21-page manifesto. That is part of it.
So the president didn't know it beforehand.
Right.
Because here's what the far right media will do with that.
Right.
President Obama knows, aware of crazy Marine who killed pastor. President Obama was warned. President Obama did nothing. So just so you know, it goes on both sides. Yeah, I'm a little farther right than I am left. I admit it. Some people would say really far right. Frank's not here, so I'm probably the most right person in the room. And I don't mean right versus wrong. I mean right versus left. I mean conservative, sensible, God-fearing man compared to liberal, progressive, no God in your life.
I got to add this. This story is just great. This is just great. So this is again from USA Today. Odom, who has a history of mental illness, claims on the first page of his 21-page manifesto that he is 100% sane and 0% crazy. He then goes on to explain that his life was ruined by an intelligent species from Mars whose technology is millions of years more advanced than ours. And the Martians wanted him as a sex slave as part of their breeding stock of humans who were offspring that walk among us. Odom said the Martians from Mars live deep in the earth.
All right, hold on. I want you to finish the story when we come back. It's Mac's World, and we're live. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I do love this job, and I can't do it without you. Today, I love my wife more than I love my job, though, just because she's listening, and I know she... No, that's not true. We're coming back live on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
$350. Oh, the naivety. The naivety of my dear friend Chris Roloff. 10 minutes before the hour, and here we are on the 9th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Why are you laughing? You're laughing so hard you have to cover your mouth.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be nice.
All right, so 2 events coming up in our community.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like a little music underneath this if it's available, but aha.
Hey, there
we go. All right. Yeah. You know what this song is?
What is this song?
Bake them, burn them, bake them, burn. What is it? I can't read lips.
All right. Anyway, so this is totally appropriate for this. The Iowa Prayer Breakfast is coming up as it happens every year on Maundy, Thursday. This year, Maundy, Thursday is Thursday, March 24th. It's the Iowa Prayer Breakfast. It's from 7 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. It's early in the morning, so you can go to it and still get to work probably on time. I encourage you to go. 99.3 is going to be there. I'm going to be there. We're going to have some other, hopefully have some other broadcasters with us as well at a table, so you can come and meet us and say hi to us. But anyway, more important than that, Dr. Alvita.
Can I invite my friends from News Radio 1040 WHO?
Never heard of them. So my friend and yours, Dr. Alvita King, is the keynote speaker. Dr. Alvita King, she is the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr., who you might remember from everything all the time. He's an important guy. Anyway, you can get your tickets to the Iowa Prayer Breakfast online at their website. I don't know what it is, so Google Iowa Prayer Breakfast. Also want to let people know that our good friends, Pastor Spencer Karoff, his church, First Church of the Open Bible, is called, they're having their glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt. This is really cool. Have you ever heard?
Glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt.
Yes, it's a glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt.
So if they cover you with illuminated paint, and then while you're running around looking for Easter eggs, you glow?
No.
So your parent knows where you're at, and so they don't have to get worried.
I think the eggs glow, but I don't know. I've never been to one of these.
Oh.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
And if Kyle Odom was there, he might think they're Martian pods. But anyway, this is a glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt. It is March 25th. It's March 25th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This is in the evening, obviously, when the sun goes down. Makes it a little bit more interesting. This will be happening at the Beaverdale Park. In Beaverdale, 3333 Adam Avenue. You go to firstchurchdsm.org for the details. Firstchurchdsm.org for the details. Glow in the dark Easter egg hunt, March 25th. I want to go. There's going to be face painting, inflatables, balloon art, popcorn, cotton candy, and eggs.
If you get your face painted, I want to see it on Facebook.
I'll do it. I will get my face painted, and you can see it.
All right. My wife, who's home today and listening, and of course is always a good editor, she wants to make sure, and she doesn't, I don't know if you said this or not, but the preacher is not dead. In fact,
she's right. I said that, I was wrong.
He may even be home by now.
Right.
His doctor, he was shot 6 times.
Right.
His doctor said he is the luckiest man alive. His family and parishioners are calling it a miracle.
Yes, thank you, CJ. Thank you so much.
That this man was shot 6 times and at fairly close range.
Right, and in the back, which is a very dangerous place to be shot, to be honest with you. I mean, think about that. Your back, right,
yeah,
Bob? I mean, you got all your lungs are back there. You're not...
Well, yeah, but you can get it in the front, too. You can get to the same places.
I guess, I don't know. Shot in the body is a bad thing.
If you had to be shot, would you prefer front or back?
I just prefer not to be shot.
Okay,
right, that's the right answer.
I figured you'd say that. All right,
thank you, CJ. You're absolutely right. I apologize if I misspoke and said that he died, but he did not. No, the pastor did not die.
So what do you think is so interesting about this story? Because you're giddy over it.
I think it's hilarious, and I think that it I'm sorry. Maybe a lot of people believe in Martians, and they believe that the Martians are with us, and I'm totally for it. Look, I'm an X-Files fan. You know, the original X-Files series is on Netflix right now. I'm watching it. I believe it's awesome. I just think it's funny. It's just not what you expected.
So I
think that's the hilarious thing about it.
They believe that this man Odom, who's still alive, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
So he's going to be held responsible for attempted murder.
Right.
This is a book coming. You realize this, don't you? So this guy feels that the Martians come down, impregnate humans. Humans have half Martian, half human babies. And what did you say? They live under the earth?
Well, the Martians live deep in the earth, according to Odom, that there are many among us, and that folks in the White House know about it. President Obama knows about it. It's common knowledge amongst our government officials, and they're just keeping it under wraps. I mean, that is just... Look, here's the thing.
That's his X-Files, isn't it?
Well, but that's the deal, right? Like, that is... If there are Martians, if there are aliens, if there are people from other planets on the earth... the consistency of everybody's story is a little bit, the consistency is the visuals are fairly consistent. How they do things, whether they go, are fairly consistent. The fact that the government in the United States would know about it, that makes sense, right? You got Area 51, things like that. There's a lot of protected stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know. Either everybody gets the same kind of crazy, or it's like one kind of crazy that consistently, it's just a story that keeps repeating, or there is consistency to it that makes you have to go, maybe there is something amazing going on.
But the fact that the government could keep that type of secret for that long.
Oh, it's easy. That'd be easy.
Let's go to the phones real quick before we run out of time. Hi, you're live in Max World. Who's this?
This is Paul.
Paul, how are you?
You know it's legitimate.
That you have been impregnated by a Martian and you are one of them.
No. It's not that. It's the guy actually has a gun, so they must have done a background check on him to find out if he is a nutcase.
Right.
So he's 100% sane, Paul. He's got to be.
Exactly. He's actually 100% right on the money.
So therefore,
Probably a Secret Service agent, even.
Well, ex-Marine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Ex-Marine to Secret Service. Yeah.
Crazy.
No, he's normal.
Well, no, yeah, Paul just proved it. The simple fact is, this guy has a gun, so he went through a background check. He cleared the mental health thing, so he's completely sane. So as Paul's postulating, and I got to agree with you, buddy, this guy's telling the truth. There are Martians living among us. That's maybe Odom's onto something. Maybe he's telling the truth.
Jill King said on Facebook, but what if he's right?
That's what I'm saying. What if Odom's right? What if that pastor in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, is really an amphibian humanoid?
You know why I know it's not true?
Why?
You know why I know it's not true? Because the doctor, he just got shot 6 times. The doctor went into his body. If he was something other than pure human...
Unless the doctor was in on it. What if that doctor himself was an amphibian humanoid and he knew and now he's just protecting? Or the coroner or the person who did the search.
All crazy people, please move to the right of the room, please. Please move to the right as we will be exiting you out the short bus door. Coming back, Mike Swain is next. His story right here on The Truth. 99.3. The Truth.